I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Today, we will commemorate a very special person in a very special way. Bruce Lee, who tomorrow will mark the 50th anniversary of his passing. But don't worry, this won't be a somber video. Instead, we will laugh together, learn together, and enjoy how this Chinese martial arts legend changed the world's perception of Chinese people. If you thought he was just a movie star, then you may need to get to know him again. He was a philosopher, a filmmaker, and even a dance champion. Yes, you heard that right. He won a dance competition in Hong Kong in 1958. Just imagine Bruce Lee dancing swiftly and gracefully on the dance floor, while others around him marvel at his moves. I'm not kidding you. So, how did Bruce Lee change the world's perception of Chinese people? He did it through his films and his martial arts, showcasing the strength and wisdom of Chinese people. Let's go back to the old days of Hollywood, where Asian characters were often portrayed as short, weak, bespectacled individuals who couldn't fight. And then, Bruce Lee entered the scene. He looked at those stereotypes, smiled, and said, "Watch me shatter this image." And with his 1-inch punch, he struck right into the heart of Hollywood. He showed the world that Chinese people could also be heroes on the silver screen. He was not just an action movie star, he was a force that changed the world's perspective. I know you might be wondering, where are those short, weak characters now? Well, I heard they all went to the gym, working hard to practice Jeet Kune Do, hoping to be like Bruce Lee one day. I see it written on their faces, I want to be Bruce Lee. From Hollywood in the United States to Beijing in China, his name and his movies are well known. Do you know, Enter the Dragon? That's one of his masterpieces. If you haven't watched it yet, you should definitely check it out. This year, on the 50th anniversary of Enter the Dragon, the copyright holders announced the release of a 4K restored version, which will be rescreened in North America, the UK, and several European countries on August 11th. If you have time, you should go to the cinema to watch it. To be honest, I believe Bruce Lee is the only person whose name can make people unleash their best power. Try it yourself, just say his name, and you'll feel your strength multiply. You can try it at the gym, at your company meetings, or even at your wedding. I guarantee the results will surprise you. We admire Bruce Lee not only for his martial arts skills and acting, but also for breaking racial prejudices and showcasing the strength and charm of Chinese people. He showed us that we can break through any limitations as long as we believe in ourselves. I believe this is the true meaning behind his words, "Be water, my friend." Even if you are a drop of water, you can penetrate through rocks if you have determination. So, as we approach the 50th anniversary of Bruce Lee's passing, let us remember this great martial artist, actor, and philosopher and thank him for the example he set for us. Let us all take Bruce Lee as our role model, approaching life with passion and staying true to ourselves, just like water, flowing and adapting no matter what obstacles we face. I know we are all laughing, all enjoying this moment. But please remember, Bruce Lee was not just a kung fu superstar, he was a great man, a wise man, a legend. He showed us through his life that we can change the world's perception in our own way. So, let us celebrate the life of this legendary figure, Bruce Lee, together with laughter and joy. Just yesterday, an old friend of China, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, flew to Beijing. When I say old friend, I mean he is truly old now, as he has reached the age of 100. He is a living relic of history. He has been active on the international stage since the last century, having shaken hands with Mao Zedong, and now he can still have lunch with Li Shangfu in Beijing. If it were me, I would be grateful if I could walk to the kitchen on my own at 100 years old, let alone fly to Beijing to have a meal with the Minister of Defense. While Kissinger was in Beijing, he happened to meet our environmental ambassador, John Kerry. I suspect they might have planned it, but I guess Kerry probably wanted to chat with Kissinger about the secrets of moisturizing face masks. After all, staying young is everyone's pursuit, right? It's like a reunion of an old TV show. Kissinger, Kerry, they're all here. I imagine if they also invited Janet Yellen and Antony Blinken, it would be a former U.S. government officials gathering in Beijing. Unfortunately, Blinken forgot to build the bridge for military dialogue with China during his last visit. Maybe he should have had tea with Kissinger and learned from him. I think they would have a lot to discuss in that regard, like how not to make China your adversary, or how to convince Chinese officials to drink more green tea. Now we wait and see if Kissinger can repair that bridge. After all, he has experience. He secretly visited Beijing 52 years ago and helped improve US-China relations. Then China's Minister of Defense, Li Shangfu, mentioned that some certain Americans in the past failed to meet China halfway, but this time we have Kissinger, a 100-year-old old friend. This friend circle is truly enviable. If next time we could invite Elon Musk and Jack Ma to join, that would be a real super friend circle. It seems that the 100-year-old Kissinger has shown us that regardless of age, the power of friendship, communication, and understanding is immeasurable. Perhaps in the near future, we will see more old friends reunite to help us build more bridges instead of walls. Let's talk about the future of the luxury goods industry. Yes, you heard it right, the luxury goods industry, you know, the one that drains our wallets. According to Reuters, the recent excessive reliance of the luxury goods industry on the Chinese and North American markets may lead to some problems. Just imagine, all the big brands in the world fighting for territory in China and North America, like a scene from Game of Thrones. I really wonder if these luxury brands opening stores in Wuhan and Zhengzhou expect us to sell our kidneys just to buy an LV bag? Or maybe they just think, it would be perfect if we could get people to buy a Cartier while they're buying instant noodles. Despite the current rush to capture the Chinese market, the Chinese economy has actually seen a decline in the second quarter, leading some banks to revise their expectations for the Chinese economy. This reminds me of the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and this time, that basket is clearly China. But it seems that these luxury brands in the industry have forgotten that saying at the fashion weeks in France. So, the question arises, what will the future of the luxury goods industry be like? According to experts, whether the Chinese market can recover will directly determine the future of the luxury goods industry. This is like the Chinese market being the lifesaver for the luxury goods industry, as they are hoping this straw will keep them afloat in the vast ocean of the economy. However, the recovery of the luxury goods market is not smooth sailing. According to Bain's estimates, although brands like Hermes and Chanel may see some improvement, the industry as a whole may only grow by 5% in 2023. You see, it's like climbing a steep mountain, except this mountain is covered in champagne and diamonds. In China, what's even more interesting is that young people have become the main consumers of luxury goods, with an average age of only 28. However, the unemployment rate among these young people is also gradually rising, reaching 21.3%. Imagine a young person who has just lost their job. They may be pondering, should I buy that new LV bag or buy food? You might wonder, where does the future of this luxury goods industry lie? Perhaps the answer lies in the words of Erwin Ramborg from HSBC. The luxury goods industry has started to focus more on local customers, making them less vulnerable to Chinese risks than they were in 2019. It seems that the luxury goods industry has finally understood the importance of relying on domestic customers. Overall, the future of the luxury goods industry is uncertain. It's like walking on a bright path, but the view is blocked by designer handbags and diamonds. Now, what we can do is perhaps hope that they can find their own path and continue to provide us with dazzling luxury goods. Of course, by that time, I might have already sold all of my kidneys. Let's talk about China, the largest. Oh wait, I know, India. I'm not talking about population, I mean the origin of interesting economic phenomena. Did you know that recently, the Chinese economy seems to be facing some challenges in its recovery after the pandemic? Yes, I'm referring to the quarterly growth rate of 0.8% that they recently announced. I guess it caught those who were expecting a rebound after the pandemic a bit off guard. I don't know if you've ever experienced a situation like this, where you were just about to sit down and enjoy a long-awaited feast, and then the waiter tells you that the chef only knows how to make McDonald's. Anyway, China is the world's second-largest economy, and you might think that it has a significant impact globally, especially on the United States. But you see, it's like making a movie and then putting the trailer on the International Space Station. For most people, we can't really see it. The US exports $154 billion worth of goods to China, which is even less than what we export to Mexico. It's like using all your pocket money to buy drinks and realizing that your favorite cola actually only accounts for 0.6% of your pocket money. However, if China's economic growth slows down, global demand for oil and other commodities may decrease. This might be good news for other countries, just like when you finally don't have to worry about your perpetually hungry friend stealing your pizza. So, the next time you see oil prices dropping, maybe you can say to your car, I told you, China has been on a diet lately. And who knows, perhaps cars manufactured in China will have a greater presence in the global market. This could be good news for those who have been complaining about not being able to buy a new car. The automotive production lines in China might say, "No worries, if the Chinese don't buy, we'll sell the cars to foreigners since they always like new things." Overall, the seemingly turbulent economic fluctuations in China may not be as bad for each of us as they appear. In the end, we might benefit from it, all thanks to President Xi Jinping's vision for China's independent economy. It reminds me of my friend who lives alone and always says, "If I stay at home all the time, how could I get lost?" In China, since late June, a series of scorching heat waves have swept across the country, with Beijing and other cities experiencing consecutive days of temperatures exceeding 30 degrees Celsius. As the heat wave engulfs large parts of China, U.S. climate envoy John Kerry is seeking to coordinate global responses with Chinese premier in Beijing, highlighting the urgency of climate change. The Chinese capital itself provides further evidence of the urgency to address climate change. Tuesday marked the 27th day this year with temperatures exceeding 35 degrees Celsius in Beijing, the highest number of such days on record. Kerry expressed his hope that China would limit the rapid expansion of coal-fired power plants and reduce the use of methane, a greenhouse gas. China has consistently refused to take these measures. During his visit to China, U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry openly acknowledged the diplomatic difficulties the U.S. and China have faced in recent years but emphasized that climate change should be treated separately from diplomatic issues. Wang Yi, member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and director of the Central Foreign Affairs Commission, stated during his meeting with former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger in Beijing that attempting to reshape China is impossible, and containing China is even more unachievable. The U.S. policy towards China requires Kissinger-style diplomatic wisdom and Nixon-style political courage. Admiral John Aquilino, commander of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, stated that the Chinese military ignored or rejected the U.S. invitation to participate in the defense ministerial meeting. In response to U.S. officials claiming that precursor chemicals for producing fentanyl come from China, the Chinese embassy in Mexico refuted these allegations as unfounded and emphasized that the responsibility to prevent the flow of unregulated chemicals lies with the importing countries. The root cause of the fentanyl crisis in the U.S. lies within itself. According to insiders, after China tightened regulations on accessing domestically stored data, Morgan Stanley relocated over 200 technology developers from mainland China. In February of this year, Ford announced plans to invest $3.5 billion in Michigan to establish a new lithium iron phosphate battery factory, with technology licensing from Chinese battery manufacturer CATL, Contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited. This seems like a win-win situation. Chinese company CATL, Contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited, will gain money and reputation, while Ford will learn how to manufacture these batteries. However, this collaboration is seen as a national security risk and may even face obstacles. The technical know-how is precisely why Ford ultimately chose CATL, but lawmakers like Manchin and Rubio may find ways to prevent this partnership. Ironically, rejecting Chinese technology will make us even more reliant on China in any future security-related conflicts because we will have to import something we never learned to manufacture ourselves. In June of this year, the first batch of agreements for the Taiwan-U.S. 21st Century Trade Initiative was signed in Washington, D.C., and the implementation bill has been passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. On July 18, the Senate unanimously agreed to pass it, and the next step is to submit it to U.S. President Biden for signing and enforcement. The Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated on the 19th that this is an important milestone in deepening trade between Taiwan and the U.S. Previously, China had expressed opposition to this initiative, criticizing it as a disguised way for the U.S. to manipulate and control Taiwan under the guise of economic cooperation. On the 18th, Taiwan's Minister of Defense, Chiu Kuo-cheng, stated that Taiwan is seeking to purchase the National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System, NASAMS, from the United States, citing its successful performance in Ukraine. As tensions in the Taiwan Strait escalate, Taiwan is not only developing its own weapons but also accelerating its pace of purchasing advanced weapons from the U.S. U.S. officials have stated that the success rate of this system in intercepting Russian missiles is 100%. According to Hong Kong media reports, a Hong Kong esports player had their qualification for an international tournament revoked and was banned from competing for 3 years because their in-game nickname included the words, "Liberate Hong Kong." During the 2019 Hong Kong protests, the slogan, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times," was widely used by demonstrators. The Hong Kong authorities later banned the slogan, stating that it had separatist connotations. The Hong Kong government's application for an injunction against the song, "Glory to Hong Kong," will be heard on the 21st of this month. The Hong Kong Journalists Association issued a statement on the 18th, stating that the Department of Justice has agreed to include exemptions for journalists if the court approves the injunction. The exemptions include the use of the song during news activities within or outside Hong Kong, as well as publishing articles, programs, posts, or tweets online. On Monday, Typhoon In-fa made landfall in southern China, affecting Guangdong, Hainan, Fujian, and other areas, bringing heavy rain and leading to numerous flight cancellations, train services being suspended, and the evacuation of nearly 230,000 people. Meanwhile, some other regions in China are experiencing record-breaking heat waves, with temperatures reaching 52.2 degrees Celsius in a remote area of Turpan, Xinjiang. Following the incident of a school cafeteria in Jiangxi using rat meat instead of duck meat, a similar incident involving suspected finger cuts being used as duck meat has occurred in a vocational school in Guangzhou, China. According to mainland media reports on the 17th, a student named Li found a gelatinous foreign object, suspected to be a contraceptive finger cut, in the cafeteria food during their training at Guangzhou Zhengcheng Huaxi Foreign Language Vocational School. The school later responded that the foreign object was a duck eyeball membrane and stated that all kitchen staff had been held accountable, with punishments ranging from fines to dismissals. Hello everyone, I am your news anchor, Yali. We are here every day to provide you with a one-stop service for Chinese news. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, and we will carefully read and respond to all of your comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.